Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Rehab with Ronnie podcast. My name is Ronnie. I am your host. This is my podcast. And you guys, I hit 100,000 followers on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. And this feels like a big milestone. And it makes me want to talk about it. I want to talk about the growth because, well, for one, I'm excited about it. And secondly, I think people could maybe take something away from it. This time last year, I only had, I think, 500 followers ish on Instagram. I could go back and check those stats, but it has literally blown up over the past 365 days. And I kind of want to make this a celebratory episode and also one that maybe people who are trying to grow their online following, online traction can learn from too. I definitely think social media is sort of like the Wild West. And I want to be careful not to just prescriptionize things and say, hey guys, I did X, Y, and Z. And if you do the same, you'll grow it to 100K in just 1 year because that's kind of fake. And I don't know if the algorithm would work for you the way that it worked for me. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into the content creation and the way that it's pushed that I literally do not understand. And I don't have any insiders on the Instagram, on the TikToks. I don't have any people working for me behind the scenes pushing my content. But I did make some changes about a year ago, and I think that I saw some growth from those changes. So I figured it would be kind of cool to reflect back on how things have grown over the past year and talk about the things that I think have helped me the most and kind of where I think it's headed also. So why don't we just get right into it? So first, I kind of want to take it back to when I started my Instagram account. And I've mentioned this before, but Rehab with Ronnie was an Instagram handle that was created in 2022. And really, the account started out, as I've mentioned before, as a place for me to post things that I'm learning, post exercise ideas, workout ideas, with really the goal of me gaining enough followers to where it looks like I might be a legitimate person, but I definitely didn't have the goal in mind to reach 100,000 followers. That's absolutely bananas. But I started posting, and you can honestly, you could go back and scroll through if you find the time or you're motivated to. You could go back and see my original posts, and they're sort of all over the place. You can tell that I'm trying to figure out what I want to post about, but I don't really have a recipe down pat quite yet. I was filming content at work, after hours. I was going to the gym here in town and then the other gym here in town and then posting things in my guest room, fold out table upstairs. So it was a little inconsistent, but I felt like it was good content and I was proud of it. So then in 2023, I actually incorporated my business and also called it Rehab with Ronnie. This is just a fun little aside. I didn't really think that I didn't think about the name. I was like, well, why don't I just go with my Instagram handle? That's a good name for a content creation page. Why don't we just make that my business name? So the origin story is sort of anticlimactic, but yeah. This time last year, I started to get a little more motivated to gain some following because, as I've also mentioned before, I have some family members that have found wild success with content creation online. And I've seen them grow, and I was kind of scratching my head like, why am I not gaining any traction? I think I'm posting pretty good stuff. I think I'm showcasing my personality, but also being educational and also, not posting a 3-minute video that nobody wants to see in a dark room being a weirdo. I thought it was pretty good, but clearly I needed to workshop some stuff. And so around this time last year, maybe a few months prior, I reached out to my, I guess you could call them my mentors, but my brother and sister-in-law. And I said, guys, just go through my content and rip me to shreds. Let me know what I need to fix. I want this page to look a little bit more legitimate and I just need some help. And so from the advice that they gave me and the things that I've learned that work for me along the way, I've come up with a little list of things that I think have helped me. And again, I can't emphasize enough. Just because I'm saying these doesn't mean that it's going to be the same for you. I want you to proceed with caution and don't think that this is an automatic recipe for success. Obviously, there are a lot of nuanced things that go into what you put out online and what other people want to see from you. So just take everything with a grain of salt and let's chat about it. So, one of the first concepts I think we need to touch on is consistency. And I know that sounds so redundant. Everybody says consistency is key, but I'm not talking about consistency in the terms that maybe you're assuming. So, consistency in terms of how frequently you post, I don't actually have a good answer for that. I don't really follow a certain amount of, I need to post this many a week. I try to stay somewhat regular, but I'm more so talking about consistency in what you post and the formatting of it. So think about having content pillars, maybe. So for me, I knew that I wanted to post exercise videos. I knew that I wanted to post educational content. And I also knew that I wanted to share my journey a little bit as I was transitioning from a corporate physical therapy job to starting my own company. And so keeping to those few subjects, I think makes it a little bit more consistent and allows followers to see what to expect from you. And that's where I think I went wrong in the beginning because the consistency was a little bit all over the place in terms of the location that I was shooting in, the lighting, and then also just what I was trying to say. So I think keeping a consistent standard of operations, I guess, for what you're going to put out there will help you come up with more ideas so that you don't feel like you're all spread all over the place. And then also help followers figure out why they would want to follow you in the first place. If they go to your page and they see, oh, okay, they're a physical therapist, but here they're talking about nutrition. And then here they're talking about hormone health. And then here they're talking about sleep patterns. And then, oh, they post a couple exercise videos and then this is what they eat in a day. That's fine. I think all those things can be good. But if you're going to go down a lane, stay in that lane for a little bit and maybe only branch out into 3 other lanes. And then I guess I should touch a little bit on consistency in terms of how often you should post. I see influencers out there saying, I post 2 times a day. I post every single day. Cool. That's good. I can't do that. There's no way. I mean, there is a way, but I don't think it would be as quality of a video or a photo than if I spend my time thinking about what I'm going to post, creating the video, editing the video, and feeling proud of it before I post it. If you're just posting to say that you posted and to show that you did 30 posts in 30 days, maybe that'll get you followers, but it also might annoy people, especially if it's not good content. So be a good auditor of your own things and be wary of just trying to do too much because I do think there's such a thing as doing too much. So I had established my content pillars, I think, and I also think that those are subject to change. Right now, I'm more so focused on exercise videos, telling my story as a physical therapist and showing workouts. But I don't think that you have to stick to 3 main ones. Maybe you have 5 main ones. Maybe you have 2. And maybe as your followers change or as you change as a person, those can change too. But don't make it a drastic change. Make it gradual. Kind of link people in slowly, ease them in, let them dip their toes in the water. Don't just come out of the left field all of a sudden posting about philosophy or something because people are going to be really confused. Another thing that I think helped moving away from the content pillars and into a part that I think was very important, at least for me and my page, was the storytelling piece. And my story is not unique necessarily, but it is, I think, interesting for people that are physical therapists or other healthcare professionals that are considering going out and working for themselves. And I do think that there are a lot of people out there doing something similar and just not sharing it online. And that's okay. Sometimes you just don't have the online personality and you don't want to be Graham, and I totally respect that. But if you have a story that you think is worth telling, and I'm sure yours is, looping people in on that and letting your followers know what's going on in your life and the changes that you've made, the trials and tribulations of owning your own business, whether that's something that you do or something that you're thinking of doing, literally whatever your story is. It doesn't have to be anything like mine, but I started to tell my story from the time that I sort of got gently pushed out the door of my corporate PT job to opening my own business inside of the gym, to transferring to a new space and bringing people along for the ride. They get invested in it. They have almost an emotional connection to what's going on with you. I say emotional connection. Maybe it's just some sort of a vested interest. I don't exactly know what the psychology is over the internet and how people form those connections, but it it's interesting. Think about the people that you follow online most closely. Maybe it is just because they post really good educational content, but also maybe it's because you just like them as a person or you think that they have a cool story. So, looping people in on what's going on to a degree, I think is helpful in building some loyalty and followers. Moving on, I also want you to think about what you stop scrolling for because our attention spans in this wild world, 2025, everyone's on TikTok, everyone's on Instagram. If we see a video and it doesn't catch our interest within the first 3 seconds, the thumb is swiping up and we're on to the next. If it's interesting enough and it has enough of a hook, you'll stay. And so, you as a consumer, if you're somebody that has the wherewithal to notice, oh, what was it about that video that I liked so much? Take note of it. Don't it doesn't mean necessarily copy that person's hook. I mean, do whatever they're doing in the beginning of their video, but notice what it is that you like to see because if you're trying to attract followers similar to you, then you can sort of add that into your recipe of what it is that creates your content. So, I think I could be biased in this, but letting your personality shine a little bit, and that sounds so lame when I say it out loud. I hate that. Let your personality shine, guys. No, but I think being yourself a little bit is helpful. I think a good way to get people a little more invested in what's going on with you and what kind of stuff you're posting and following along just the journey is just be yourself. I hate that I'm saying that out loud. Look at me. I'm like, hey guys, I've got some advice for you. Just be yourself and show your personality. That sounds so cringe, but I wouldn't be saying it if it wasn't true. And if you've seen my stuff, you know I used to be a dancer. I like to pop a little dance move in there every once in a while. I like to talk on my stories as if I'm FaceTiming my friends. I just like to show a little bit about me and what it would be like if you met me. And I think that goes a long way. I remember one time I did a virtual call with a client, and after an hour of talking to him, he was like, "This is so weird meeting you virtually in person." He said, "You are the same right now as you are online. You're just so full of energy." And I was like, "Okay, good. So I'm not lying when I post. I'm trying to let my personality reflect into all my little content pieces that I post." Anyways, back to the original point. What gets you to stop scrolling, to click on the video, to click on their profile, and to click follow? Do a little self reflection when you're on social media next time and pay attention to what you pay attention to. And I think that brings me into my next few points. I want to talk about lighting, I want to talk about colors, and I want to talk about movement. So if you look back at my old stuff, you'll see, like I was saying before, I'm in a lot of different places. Sometimes I was up early in the morning making videos at 5, 6 in the morning. And so the lighting wasn't great, or I didn't have a tripod. I was just setting it up discreetly on a gym machine, trying to not be embarrassed. Oh, and let me do a little aside here. Don't care what people think if you're filming something at the gym. Just choose not to care. I know that it's cringy, but it was almost more cringy to set my phone up a bunch of different times and then have it topple over in the middle of me trying to film an exercise and people see it and be like, "Ah, caught red-handed." So, if you're nervous about going to the gym and filming stuff, just don't be. Just nobody cares what you're doing. It's fine. It's fine. But lighting is important because bright lighting is really nice to look at. It's easy on the eye. Very rarely do you see somebody in the dark on Instagram and go, "Oh, what's this?" You want contrast. So, my videos started to really take off when I started to post inside of the gym space that I was working out of in April of last year. And it was pretty bright, almost fluorescent lighting, but it made for pretty good content. And you could see everything. It was sort of a pop of color. I don't want to say lighting is everything, but it's huge. People like pretty things, they like attractive things. And when the lighting is unattractive, it's just like, I'm just automatically disinterested. Second thing, colors. You might notice And not in every video, but I often am rocking a little set, a little two-piece set, a little pop of color here and there. And partially it's because I just love cute workout sets, and partially because, again, it catches the eye. I'm thinking human psychology. What's going to catch the eye? What's my hook? How am I going to get them in there? And they're in there to stay. And they go, wow, this was so good. Who is this person? Click Rehab with Ronnie. Even more fun stuff. Click follow. You get the point. Now, it's worked for me. I also am thinking of some content creators right now that sort of film in this dark, kind of overhead, moody lighting, and they're in cool outfits, and they also do super well. But guess what? It's consistent. So, just figure out what works for you. One more thing I think gets people to stop scrolling is movement. And in my case, the movement is literally me probably doing a pirouette on screen because it's fun and I like to dance. But it could also just be you quickly changing into a different outfit or you chugging a water bottle. What else would it be? You running down the stairs to get to the gym. Something where it's not just you sitting there talking to the camera. Because if people already don't know who you are, and then you're just sitting there and it's a shot of you from the shoulders up saying, hey guys, these are the exercises that I think would be good for X, Y, and Z. Bored. They're bored. They don't care. They're not gonna care until you have 75 million followers. And they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, what is this celebrity saying? But until then, no, you need to be moving. You need to be colorful. You need to have good lighting. And that's sort of my recipe on my page. Again, I feel like I'm beating the dead horse, but it's stuff that I think has worked for me. Obviously, there are so many other pages out there that are so different, but when I look back on how I gained 100,000 followers in a year, not even, literally less than a year, I feel like a lot of it's luck. I feel like it's right place, right time, but I also recognize that certain things that are pleasing to the eye and interesting to hear draw people in and make them want to follow. And that brings me to my next point. Audio. Trending audio is good. Actually, fun fact, guys, my account got banned from using audio trends, which is I thought was super interesting because I don't use music that often in my content anyways, but Instagram basically shut me down and said you can't really use any music anymore. So I found out one day I was trying to post a video of me dancing around to a Frank Sinatra song. We love Frank, and he's a classic, and he should definitely be in the content library. And I could not find a single Frank Sinatra song. And I reached out to Instagram, and they're like, yeah, sorry, some creators just can't have music. I was like, what? So, anyways, that was a little side story, but I think audio is important because if you follow me and you see my stuff, you know that I do a lot of voiceovers. I chose voiceovers because I thought as a physical as a physical therapist, you guys recognize that? I thought as a physical therapist, it was the best way for me to get my point across. If I was doing an exercise with a sound going over it and then text on the screen, number one was just a little bit too much work for me. I hate doing the text on screen because it's so tedious. And number two, more effort for the person because then they have to read it. And maybe they don't feel like reading it. Maybe they just feel like listening. So I think the voiceovers have helped me, but it's not necessarily crucial to have. I do think text on screen can be really helpful for other creators. I think just doing music with a great caption, I think original audio is great. Hopefully, your account doesn't get banned from using music. And if there's anybody out there that's listening that works for Meta, please let them know that I would love to be dancing on screen to some Frank Sinatra anytime soon. Don't know why I got banned, but I love a good challenge. It's fine. Okay. I've basically covered all of the main points I want to cover. I do want to mention that Instagram has become much more of a video centered platform. And I know we all long for the days of the sepia filter of you taking a picture of your half-eaten lunch and posting it in 2012, but those days are over. They want to be a video platform. And I think Reels do better. And I think that upsets a lot of people, and I totally get it because I am also nostalgic for the old days, but you got to roll with the changes. So whenever I post a photo, it does okay. Mostly my photos are seen by my followers. They almost never get me new followers. But I think it's okay to mix it in because a lot of times, if there's a big life update, I'm not going to post a reel about it. I'm going to post a photo. And for the followers that have been following me for a long time, I want them to see that update. And I don't care if I get new followers from it. It's funny. At this point in time, having reached 100,000 followers, in my mind, I just assume that since I've hit this big milestone, people will just stop following me. I'm like, okay, I hit it. So clearly I'm done. I don't know why anybody would follow me anymore. That's enough. And then people keep following and it's such a cool, it's just, it's freaking cool. That's the best word that I have for it. It's unexpected. And I hope that that happens to other people too. Okay, last little piece that I'll say that I think has helped me grow. I have a lot of followers that are in similar places as me, whether that be professionally or just the same age or just interested in the same things. And I get a lot of direct messages of people letting me know that they appreciate my content or having specific questions about what to do in life. And I think a lot of that comes from the stories that I share on my stories. Instagram stories, I think, are a really good way to kick off your shoes, take a seat back, recline, relax. What am I saying? It's a good way to be a little less formal in the things that you're saying and what you're posting and just tell a funny little story or talk about what happened to you that day or I don't know, share your outfit, something that they wouldn't see in a reel that you have perfectly concocted and spent hours editing and voicing over, letting them just get to know you in the stories, I think is kind of helpful. And I think that that's different for different people. I understand that not everybody is comfortable front facing camera chatting to the camera. Like, hey guys, you wouldn't believe what happened to me today. But if it's something that you're comfortable doing, I do think it can build rapport with your followers and they can relate and they watch the story and they're like, oh my gosh, no way, me too. I've had that happen to me. Crazy. And then you kind of go back and forth in the DMs and you build a little relationship with these people online and it's really fun. I like it. I'm a big fan. In closing, I want to just mention something that I heard a while ago. I think it was Alex Hormozy. He has a book about sales and I was reading it trying to become a saleswoman for my business and he talks about how posting content that you would consume yourself is the way to go. And I know I kind of already touched on that, but I want to give a good example of what I mean when I go to post my content. When I'm creating a reel, I will edit it and tweak it and tweak it. And the final product, if I'm not smiling at it or going, hell yeah, or I love this, then maybe I'll post it, but I already know going into it, it's probably not going to do super well. I just feel as if the things that I'm putting out, if I really enjoy watching it and I'm smiling and I'm like, yeah, that was a good one, Ronnie, then chances are other people are going to like it too. So find whatever it is, whatever your niche is, and be very meticulous about what you're going to post before you post it and watch it over and over again and go, yeah, this is for me. And then if nobody sees it and you get 0 views, you at least are still proud of it. Because picture the flip side. You posted something and you thought it sucked anyways, and then it gets no views. And then you're like, yeah, whatever. It was terrible anyways. I don't even know why I do social media. This is so dumb. I'm just going to quit. And then you deactivate your account. Come on. Don't let that be you. Hopefully this was educational and entertaining for you guys. I had fun doing this one. Again, I can't emphasize enough how bizarre to me it is still that I've gained as many followers as I've had. Sometimes I go back through the list of followers and I'm like, are all of these bots? Should I start deleting these people? But I don't know. It's hard to know if they're bots. But if you are out there and you're following me, I appreciate you. I am creating this type of content for you. And if you've been considering starting your content creation journey or you feel stuck in a rut, maybe these points that I've made will lead you in somewhat of the right direction. Thanks for listening, as always, and I will see you next week.